So on Monday, I asked the question, what's the difference between happiness and pleasure? And what I was hoping is that most people would pick up on the fact that the difference between the two is time duration as well. It's actually a chemical difference in the brain. So pleasure, that immediate hit of joy, that feeling of joy, that's based off of dopamine. So you get a nice dopamine hit whenever you're, playing video games with friends, whenever you're maybe doing whatever makes you happy, taking a drink of alcohol, hanging out with people, for certain people, I shouldn't say for certain people, sex, whatever. All that is a dopamine hit. That's that immediate, short lasting feeling of, goodness. You're like, oh, this feels good. But typically those things are all things that you do for you, because I'm doing this because this makes me feel good. I'm not doing this because this helps everyone else out there. Some people get that. Some people do feel joy from that temporary joy. But happiness, that's more that long-term internalized joy and happiness, and that is actually based on serotonin in the brain. And usually that's an external locus. In other words, what I'm saying is you're doing stuff for others. So maybe you're serving at a soup kitchen, you're working with teenagers, you're working with other people, you're volunteering, you're whatever. But you're not doing it for yourself necessarily. You're doing it for others out there in the community that maybe need help. That's where happiness finds a lot of its coming from. It's a long-term thing. And people are able to have that happiness even through the midst of immediate, this is bad. In other words, like, let's say something happens where you're having a bad day at work or whatever, but that happiness is able to last through it. The pleasure, that'd be gone immediately because, I'm not feeling the best right now because I'm being yelled at by the boss. That immediately destroys the pleasure. But the happiness can last even through that. It may feel subdued at the time for a few seconds, but it eventually does come back because it's something that's dwelling in you long term, not something that's an immediate pleasure. So that is the difference that I see between happiness and pleasure.